Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, music check, 1, 2, 3. We may have to wait for a second opinion because you can hear me in 2 places. Atlam, can you hear me? How are you? Excuse me. Can you hear the music all right? It should be really, really quiet in the background. Fantastic. Thank you, Atlam. Okay, I just needed to confirm that before we get going with the rest of the stream. Today is going to be a very fun stream. DM Crusader, you can't hear. Tell them to refresh the stream or the app and or check like physical volumes on their like headphones or stuff like that. Hey Volkahar, welcome back. There you go. You hear us now, DM Crusader? Oh, it sounds like they got audio now, Atlam, so no worries. Hey Chim, how are you? Okay, fantastic. So glad the video and audio is coming through good. We're going to dive right into it. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Mac. It's time for the Dungeon Alchemist Mapmaking Show. We're going to start with our itinerary for today's show. Garden's growing well. I got some pictures to share and some updates for some changes we made to it too. We added a greenhouse on one of the beds to test it out, and it went so well we ordered 2 more. Hey, Swedish Cook. How are you, my friend? All right, let's see here. Let's look at our itinerary. So I don't have much in the way of news, and we'll discuss that shortly, right after we discuss the itinerary. Following our news, so the dev build, what that is remains to be seen. We'll discuss it in a bit. Our following segment after news is our interview with the lovely cartographer Mondu. You may recognize him from our Discord, the streams, other social, platforms. Very active in our community. And just a very active DM. I read a lot about his various shenanigans from his players in chat here, as well as in the GM chat channel. And I honestly, I feel like I've been there along for most of the ride. Anyway, we'll be inviting him on in a little bit for that interview, so stay tuned. That'll be our pretty much first segment of the day. Following that will be, and during that segment, if you have questions for Mandu, feel free to ask them. But make sure if you have a question for Mandu, even if you start asking now, make sure you preface your question with the word question. So Atlam, myself, etc. can take note of that and keep track of it. Immediately after that segment will be Dungeon Alchemist Q&A. So that'll be centered around like Dungeon Alchemist itself. So after Mandu leaves, if you have supporting queries, Dungeon Alchemist related, guidance is required, whether it's how to build a certain thing, or maybe you're struggling with your exports, or maybe your Dungeon Alchemist is running poorly, save those questions for me for that segment. Afterwards, a brief map showcase and feature showcase, which I've got highlighted by question for a reason. Okay? We'll discuss that in a little bit in the news segment at length. Stand by. So, actually, you know what? I'll just leave the itinerary up while we discuss you know what? No, we will not. We'll go into this scene. How you doing, everyone? Can you see me all right? I know my camera's raised. That's raised for the interview segment here in a short minute. So to that end, I just wanted to let you all know that I finally have gotten access to a dev build of I wouldn't say that it's the alpha state of Fun with Objects, but it's the current build state of Fun with Objects 2, which means soon there will be teasers and other, information forthcoming related to Fun with Objects Part 2. And I'm thinking I might even give y'all a sneak peek near the end of the stream. So that means that we're getting closer, I would say, to the launch of Fun with Objects 2. The devs want me to start playing with these features, seeing how things feel, stress testing them, but also start sharing certain features, not all of them. So I've been given a strict list of things I cannot share. So just kind of keeping that in mind. But that'll be if we do dive into that more, it'll be at the end of the stream. I'm at this point, DM Crusader, the best guess, by the way, is end of summer for our launch. But who knows, right? Who knows? All right, so we're going to get out of the news segments, and we're going to be bringing on our friend Mandu. Stand by one moment while I fix his setup here and bring him on. Hey, you should be able to see his handsome face now. And you should be able to hear him, hopefully. I'm going to turn off the music and turn up the up the mic. Stand by. Let's do a test real quick, my friend.
Well, Peter Parker delivers pizza. It has pineapple in it, so someone is going to be very angry.
Oh, well, I wouldn't be angry if I got a pineapple pizza delivered to me.
Well, that's just you.
We've discussed this
and
at
many
length.
people in the chat probably. Its opinions are opinions.
Can you all hear and see him? I just want to get confirmation from several people.
How is the volume check, chat? Chats? I'm not used to having more than one chat.
Speaking of, I got to start getting those up and refreshed because it's this whole thing that they sometimes don't go live right away. It's I don't get it, but it's whatever. Especially Steam. Steam has lots of issues.
Yeah, Steam tends to have like a 25-ish second delay at best.
Yes, you are on the money, my friend.
Yeah, every now and then I jump in between chats when you're early in the stream, and I'm free. Might as well double check.
Steam is RTMP streaming. It's not low latency streaming, which means it's definitely a delay. It always is going to until they update that, which Steam, has this ain't broke, don't fix it mantra, which I understand. A lot of this system's archaic, but it works so well. It's like really no reason to change it. But they have started making changes around the workshop and other things. Hopefully modernization, is on its way. So we've got Mandu with us today. Let me quickly introduce him now that we've done our sound and video checks. Mandu, beloved member of our community, an amazing DM, and a cartographer to boot. Longtime viewer of the streams, longtime DM, and just all around good guy. And honestly, just recently you took like a bit of a sabbatical from the community because your chair broke. If I recall you telling me, I remember reaching out to you. I was like, man, I hope you're okay. Is everything all right? I missed you around the streams and Discord lately. And you're like, dude, you tell me about the chair. So anyway, yeah, if my chair broke and it was like basically just a sharp point to sit on, it would be a pain to deal with. So I get it. Quite literally a pain. Anyway, so I'm glad you're back. Anyway, so everyone, here is Mandu. Let's be gentle. Let's be nice. Be on our best behavior. And if you have questions for Mandu related to Dungeon Alchemist, his use of Tabletop Simulator, right? Is that what it is? Tabletop Simulator to host his games, as well as his experiences as a DM and a map maker. And outside of that, if you want to get to know Mandu a little bit of what he does, on the side or for his hobbies. Anyway, welcome, Mandu. So excited to have you. And thank you so much for being on today.
Well, I'm happy to be here. It's honestly, after seeing everyone who has been here, I feel like the weed guy. Like, you have people like Zach making a rather alarming amount of assets for the workshop. You have people like Asmodeus that introduced all the 3D modeling to the Dungeon Alchemist community. You have people like Headline Last, who makes, I would say she's the best terraformer in Dungeon Alchemist, in the Dungeon Alchemist community. And I am the science guy. I am the one that goes and, oh yeah, I can break that. So you
You
get
got to
stuff like
admit you're really good at shaping structures and fixing, little quirks in Dungeon Alchemist. Um,
not fixing, more like finding workarounds. Like if you dig into the tips and tricks section in the Discord, you're gonna find, oh, I put a how to copy paste up groups of objects a while ago, and I have been doing that for a while. It's messy. It's not the best, but it can be done. Not long ago, I found how to make cave entrances that are vertical. A transition into the underground that doesn't require you to make a hole and go down, which you did in the Mapmaker Monday on the lava zone you made, the
you're
forge.
talking about the Bone Forge?
Yeah, the bone forge.
Yep.
You made an entrance and you went down, but I found a way to do it straight line. You could have all of that at the same level, but it's underground and over the ground at the same time.
Very
So
cool.
yeah, there is interesting science
So
to be
it's more
done,
like a
and
pit going into a cave.
yeah, it's kind of like that. But you can also still use the what's above it and have display map. It's really good for transitioning in the first person view, and to take pictures because those transitions are very rough in at least up until that point.
Well, that's very cool. And I remember when you shared that tip. So I encourage everyone to take a closer look at that. That's on our Discord, which is in the tips and tricks section, whereas usually community members and myself will share, like tutorials and guides on either how to break things or how to properly do things. Both of which are very helpful if you're trying to accomplish something in Dungeon Alchemist. So we usually encourage people kind of breaking things through what we call cram, creative asset misuse. Um, so, it always is nice when people come up with solutions with other tools, such as terrain shaping and rooms and whatnot. Um, Really quickly, I've got a question for you, Mandu.
Oh boy, here we go.
And we got questions filing in, so we're going to have to get into those soon. But question for you: when was the first time you ever made a map?
Oh boy, the first map. Uh, my first map is a mess. Um, I got making a map. You mean in Dungeon Alchemist or
Just
before
first
that?
map ever.
First
Where did
map
you get your
ever.
experience with map making? Like, where did you start?
Uh, oh, that was way further back, even to my
So I guess
initiation
my
with the
question
tabletop
was
game.
phrased poorly. Let me
Yeah, but
rephrase it. Where did you get your start with map making?
map making. Uh,
Yes.
it's a complicated answer because there's a backstory to that that I'm probably going to cover in some of the questions, at least one of the ones in the Discord. But actual maps, for players to sit and play and look at it and decide where they're going to move, probably slightly before Dungeon Alchemist. During the previous campaign, I was a player when we got introduced to D&D like 4 years ago. I I wanted to help our DM because he was, all the time with his job, etc. So I started to dig, and what we were running the game on tabletop simulator. So I would just scour for assets in that workshop and then put things together. And hey, I made this map. You can use it. It's for random encounters, and that's how it technically started. And eventually, when I started doing one shots whenever we were missing a player in that campaign or something, I built more maps and more in my for my uses. And after that, uh, the idea of me running the next campaign, because we were about to end it, the previous one, started, and I figured that if I'm setting up and prepping for a session, I cannot really sit and swim in a land sea of assets in a workshop to pick and manually place every rock using the limited tools in Tabletop Simulator. Also, there were performance issues because big 3D map, every object is a thing, and not everyone, just like with VA and BTTs, not everyone has a beefy PC. So I started to look for software, and I looked here and there, and at some point I found Dungeon Alchemist, and I spent a good time just joining the streams, watching you do stuff to absorb how the program was used and what it could do, and information. I'm a graphic designer. I absorb software in how it functions and how I optimize the way I use it. The workflow is the most important part to me. So at some point, at that time, you were doing giveaways. I would join just in case I had luck. But at some point, it was shortly after the release of Everything is Lava, and I just pulled the trigger, started making maps.
I am so grateful you decided to join our community. And it sounds like you've been making maps a long time. So, how many years would you say you've been making maps now?
Uh, Making stuff for players to enjoy even further before that. Like long ago, we're talking 9 years ago. No,
S-
11 years ago. Time flies.
Oh,
I had a job, and at some point, Nintendo released a game called Mario Maker. I bought it because it's Mario. After work, I want to jump around a bit and have fun. But that game awakened something in me, and it was, oh wait, I can make a map, and other people can play it. So that's what kickstarted basically the fact that I'm around here. To be honest, because that awakened in me that I love making stuff for people to enjoy. I love watching them uh, go through it. I love seeing how my own creation can make people happy. So that drove me to go find people that could play at those levels, and that led me to Twitch. Made some friends on Twitch. Then eventually started streaming myself. And if that didn't happen, I probably would have never found Dungeon Alchemist because I found you guys through the stream.
honestly, I think about that every day. Like people who found our community through the stream and decided to kind of stick around. I know there's quite a few here just watching now who, maybe stumbled across us randomly and checked it out and was like, what is this nonsense? And decided to be a part of it. So appreciate you being a part of our community and also using Dungeon Alchemist as your map making tool of choice, especially after, over a decade of map making. Of course, it's spread across several different genres and whatnot, but still, it's always nice to know that we're the map maker of choice for someone with so much experience. So I've got a question here from Loki on Discord.
Mhm.
What features or themes in Dungeon Alchemist do you find most useful when creating maps?
That's an easy one. DA has a lot of tools. The most powerful one is the collision toggle. No questions. Uh, you can move anything anywhere. You can do a lot of shenanigans, and more importantly, you can resize stuff. Uh, in fact, the map you have on screen right now, if you were to click that little golden round thing, that's probably a little ring that I made huge just to make that structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a
Uh,
ring, in fact, or a bangle or
yeah.
something.
Yeah. And
Well, it
one
looks
of
like
those.
one of those brass rings, like that go to the
Yeah.
piping, just way over.
Another one of the other. I also gave you another map that's similar to that one. That's a different part of the golden cube, and that's the one that has the most use of the collision toggle. And to me, being able to move things around is the most important thing because I use it with everything. Eh, Before we had the collision toggle, I one of the first maps I made in Dungeon Alchemist, I stacked a lot of things on top of each other to make them even bigger. Yeah, that's a bracelet, and the roundabout inside the tavern. Well, now you went too high up, but
I know what I'm
the
doing.
roundabout in that little center of the tavern, those are library sets that I just made big enough to fit the round section in there and sunk them into the ground to make a little bar, which my players sadly never went into, but it's probably for the better that they never went into that. Otherwise, they would have taken a lot of poison damage trying to get out.
Evil.
Yeah, you laid out the treasure, you laid out the traps as well. That's what you have to do. Otherwise, there is no adventure.
Fair enough.
But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
the collision toggle is to me the most powerful tool in Dutch Alchemist and the one that I use the most. If you ask me what do you want right now in DA, give me a toggle to set it on and off on the push of a button because I would save so much time.
Like a hotkey.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be great if it was a hotkey. There's hotkeys on so many things, and I wonder why they have them when there's not one for collisions.
I mean, it's a new feature, like everything. Well, new.
It's like
It's not that
it's been
new
around
anymore, but
since my second year with DA. It's been a while now. It's been a long time. But yeah, I mean, anyway, I just like to critique where I can because, I use DA as well.
early access is early access, and things will get better with time, and that's how it is.
I like how you're defending it against the community manager.
I mean,
You're
it's
great.
the reality. like if you think about it, a few months ago we had no roofs, we had no multi-level. If you wanted multi-level, you had to stack stuff on top of each other, and good luck. Like I said, one of my early maps, I had to stack platforms on top of platforms to make a pyramid because I needed to make things beyond what they could be, and that was not an option. So,
What's
and
your
that's it.
second favorite feature in Dungeon Alchemist?
Second favorite feature, that's
Hey, Jack.
honestly nowadays probably the abstract lights. Abstract lights have added a lot to my own maps. I really like to control illumination, and sometimes you cannot get away from having low ambient light. But abstract light let me do that. I can just shut down the sun and have very specific lights here and there.
So as you can
In
see
fact,
on this
you are
map,
seeing them in this map as well. If you were to turn them on, they are everywhere.
oh yeah, I can see it. I just
Yeah.
turned them
And
on
if
before you
you
even said that.
if you were to put the map on top-down view, you would notice that the lights follow in a very specific pattern. That's me playing with the glows of the map. With that, you can tell this is supposed to be a piece of basically a Rubik's cube, and this would be a bottom right side.
Hmm.
This is a corner piece. So that's how my players would be able to tell where they are if they didn't know exactly the point. This has to be a corner.
Hey, Wardian, how you doing? Welcome back. Okay, next question here is from Volkahar on Twitch. I'd love to know what Mandu's favorite type of map to make is.
Oh boy, favorite type of map. I because of the structure of my campaign, I have a limited set of maps. Basically, either travel maps or places that should be in a city. So I don't get the chance to make maps like the one you're seeing right now too often. And I really like to make these not really normal, a bit nonsensical style maps because I can break the rules and I can make up the rules. Like the one you're about to bring up, that's a more quote unquote normal map. That's a bit of a dungeon that's meant to be played across several sessions. But I like when I get to do nonsense because those maps like the cube mean I got to break the rules. I don't need to worry about the hallways should be x size wide. I don't need to worry about uh, the gap that the holes have because maybe the players cannot jump beyond 10 feet. And if I make it wider, it doesn't make realistic sense. So I like when I make it a magical place that doesn't really make sense because I also get to pull some crazy tricks within the A. Put stuff floating in the air and make effects do things that they're not supposed to do. Place doors on the ground for no reason
Tell
or
us, a,
whatever it may be.
sorry to cut in really quick. Tell us a little bit about this map I just pulled up, the Winter Keep. Where did
The
you
Winter Keep.
use this in your campaign?
Yeah, this is basically almost the conclusion of a long series of events. This keep is basically the hideout of the big bad evil guy. So they basically took over the base of operations of the good guild, the guild, the adventurers guild, the good guys, and through a lot of political nonsense, uh, it was taken over. And imagine this place full of lycanthropes, basically, and crazy mages.
So it's full
So the
of
players had
mages
to
and
infiltrate.
lichens.
Yeah,
All right.
basically, you probably see there's several entry points, and even downstairs there's another one. The players had options on how to get in here, so it was an adventure based on what do the players feel they should be going to, and that determined how the progress went, how the things developed.
I love these totem ornament on the fireplace. It looks good. I haven't used these before. They just look really good
Yeah,
in
those
here.
were nice fireplaces.
Excuse me.
Those
Hey, Dirty
those
Rollers,
are
how you
very
doing, bud?
recent.
Has Hendrix showed up yet? Check out this one. Oh, you were just here. Oh,
Yeah. And
I think that looks
in
really clean for a lodge view.
the fireplace is also. I love the fact that we in the last update we got little flames that you can turn into smoke. So I used those up there as well.
Oh, and the chimneys. Yeah, and what he's talking about, there's fire in here, right? These fire like this. If you just put it somewhere, if you turn it out, like turn off the fire, it becomes a smoke plume. So you could just move that into your chimney.
And it's an object, and you can very easily make it bigger, smaller, move it up and down.
Yep,
That's what you have
exactly.
up there.
So very easy to use in that regard. He has not shown up. I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, given the, moving through customs and the international delivery and stuff, it'll probably take some time.
But yeah, this is a big place. It took about, I think, 2 to 3 sessions to do, as the players had to decide where to go, who to fight, when to rest. And yeah, thankfully they managed to rescue all of their friends and the people that were in the jails downstairs.
Nice.
The crazy wizard did escape though.
Ah.
Yeah, they gave him 1 turn to cast that 1 teleport spell.
Darn. Well, hey, at least, there'll be an adventure later trying to get him.
Who knows? I don't want to say much because
They
some of
could
them
be
may
watching. Uh-oh,
Yeah.
spoilers. So is this the wizard's
No, that's basically at some point they had to fight a Rakshasa.
Ah.
And the
That seems
gig
like
of this
a-
Rakshasa is that
that's-
he takes people and turns them into candy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a candy that's so foul that if you were to hold one, you hear the screams of the soul inside.
And these are the
Rather nasty
candies here.
thing.
So they
And
look
if you
like
hold too many, you
ball pit
probably
balls.
die. So yeah, they showed up once, and once the players saw that thing in there, they realized, oh. Yeah, so yeah, they fought a Rakshasa in there. They happen to be part of the big plan.
Very
So
cool.
that room had to be fancy looking because Rakshasas like to be fancy.
Yeah, they're very bougie, aren't they?
Yeah, and downstairs you get a teleportation, which is what the players used to get in. They had access to the teleporter, and then a secret lab for the nasty experiments.
Don't mind me. I'm just gonna hold my Hendrick while how
And
he's stabbing me.
that lab is the Hendrix zone.
The Hendrick
And
zone.
once again, you can see heavy use of the abstract lighting here.
Yeah, abstracts are great. I mean, for the DM, when you're building, they're a little bit of a nuisance. They're in the way. That's why I usually do them last, so they're not in the way of everything I'm moving around. And remember, you can always hide the visible like light itself, but this is what it'll look like when you export. Is the light housing will be gone. Hey, Highland Lass, how are you? You have any questions for Mandu today? Those who have just joined us in the last few minutes, let us know by prefacing it with question, and we'll add it to the list. So that's, Jack, Wardian, Dirty Rollers, Highland Lass. If you have any questions, let us know. Okay, so this map here, how long do you think it took you to build it?
This is one of the lengthy maps, roughly 20 hours, because I went back to add the thing, move the thing, and to give you an idea of how many jumps in and jumps out I had, I did not put a bathroom in this place. Could you believe that?
Sit moth.
Yep. The players did not realize either. In fact, at the end of this adventure, just for the laughs, I put the final guard that they didn't take down. It was outside on a tree doing his business.
He just missed because he had to
Complaining
find
that
a
there is no bathroom in
restroom.
this place. Yep.
There's no, portals. It seems like there's portals in every corner. Those can't be a bathroom.
As long as the other person on the
Where
other
does
side of
it
the portal
go?
doesn't complain. Yeah.
That's funny. So how long ago did your players go through this map?
I mean, I could pull my session notes and tell you, but I'm inclined to say 12-ish, 12 sessions ago, roughly.
Not bad. Not bad. And what level are your players now?
My players are level 13. They are like 2 sessions away from level 14. They are doing currently an optional quest to get the level 14. Otherwise, my campaign was started to end at level 13.
Gotcha.
With it, like I said, this optional quest to get one more level and a bit of a boon from a god because they are having fun. If they get it though, I don't know. They are going currently through the halls of sacrifice.
So I got a question here from Loki on Discord. What future features or themes are you especially looking forward to?
That's a fun one. To me, the decal tool. That's a thing that I'm really looking forward to because you probably can see as you scour through the map. I like to add little details here and there, but the bigger you make a space, the more evident becomes that there's a pattern to the 8 textures. And with the decal tool, you can break that up. Like if you make a snow map with and you put a house in there, the snow, unless you do some trickery, it's never gonna come in. With a decal tool, you're gonna be able to put the snow by the door, and it's gonna fade into the room. And that's a lot of very simple, minute detail, but adds a lot of immersion into. Yeah, this door has been open for a while, so the snow has been coming in.
I mean, yeah, if you only want it coming in the door in that vicinity,
Mm.
pretty much right now, abstracts is the only way.
Yeah,
You could
and,
definitely
you need to go
snow out
find
a building, though, like an entire room.
Yeah, but and then you need to deal with the fact that I don't want snow in this specific area. So
Exactly.
in that spot, you need to do that. I will need to place a flow on the floor, place a platform, put a platform on the flow so the snow is no longer in there, sink it in, and do.
So you can just like add snow to the
nonsense.
whole place like it's been filled, but it does it to every room. So if you break them up into separate rooms, then it can do it. So technically,
Yeah.
these aren't individual rooms. They're all one massive great hall. If these were like individual hallways and all cordoned off, then yes, you could do snow in one of them, like the one
That's
by the
usually
door.
how I make things. Like it's been a long time since I just made a room and let it be filled by DA. I usually make a big space and then manually place the walls as I think the layout, the obstructions, how I want the movement to be around. because walls are more than just walls. Walls are also the limiter factor for the fact that yeah, your monk can move 100 feet around, and they also can dash. Your paladin is somehow the fastest person in the party because they have a horse. Uh, and somehow in my party, the slowest character is the rogue because that's how it ended up being.
Oh crap!
Yeah.
Sorry, I was playing with this, seeing if I could do
Yeah,
it.
I'm saying the rooms I usually make end up being a big room with a lot of little walls I put myself. Every now and then I do make a room, but usually for other purposes, like reshaping a roof or using different floors for some reason. If I want to give a special shape on a floor, I usually do that. Make a room that's like a little star on the floor and then place a different color floor.
I've got our next question here from DM Crusader. It's other than, and this is from Twitch, sorry. Other than just homebrew campaign maps, do you ever redo maps from previously released D&D adventures and modules?
Not really. I got into Dungeons and Dragons like in the previous campaign, or DM basically introduced us to D&D. We're talking 4.5 years ago, and he even never played 5e. So we started in. He was learning 5e on the go. I was helping with the rules because I'm the rules lawyer. I like to read the rules. I feel the rules. Um, Following the rules knowing the rules makes sure you know the limits of what you can do, and when you have those constraints, it feels really good when you are like, I can do that. Obviously, sometimes you need to improvise, and that's when the DM needs to step in and be like, yeah, you can do that. The DC would be somewhere around here. Roll me this check. But when you know the rules, you don't need to think about that. It's, oh yeah, that's this check. Do it. And you know when to attribute advantage or disadvantage. But that was a custom campaign, and for my campaign, I had my own ideas. I knew exactly what I wanted to run, and I had a rough picture of how the flow would be. My campaign is a lot of travel at the start, with management of which day it is, because you really don't want to get caught in the out in the wilderness if there is a full moon out, because let's say you don't werewolves are not the only bad thing that can happen, and that's a special moon that makes every animal become crazy, and a random wolf could bite you and now you are a werewolf. So it's an interesting don't stay out in the bad day kind of
So it
situation.
sounds like there's a lot of lichens in your world.
Fun enough, this is the campaign setting is it's been dealing with that for a long time, so they kind of have it figured out. There's a war of the Lycan in the history of this kingdom they are playing in, but yeah, it's a sort of figure out dilemma, and there is some ethical things that may come up depending on the playthrough of what is the structure of the campaign. At some point, the players were dealing with oh wait, these guys are good, but they are lycanthropes, but they are good. So it's ups and down. Also, the paladin happens to be part of the inquisitors, the ones that go and capture all of the lycans. So there's values that clash in there. So yeah, it's interesting things. And part of the planning, I know for a fact at some level the players start getting crazy spells, and travel becomes no longer a problem because yeah, you're traveling in a big kingdom, but I'm not gonna roll random encounters when the best I can offer in this area is a wolf. In fact, I will tell you, oh, you see wolves, they are scared of you.
You should just roll a 100 table, and on like a 1, you throw something crazy at them.
I do something like that. We have what I call, instead of rolling a d20 like the Dungeon Master's Guide suggests, I roll a d20. Another 20. Instead of a d20, I roll what we call the funky dice. Every player rolls a d6, and I average the result, and that's how they are feeling their luck is gonna be in the day. So if they roll high, it's gonna be a lucky day. Suddenly they are traveling, and from the sky, an Arakokra salesman just by and tries to sell you something. If all of them roll one, well, an arcane anomaly is gonna start, and be ready, a dragon is dropping. Uh, Something really bad can happen if everyone rolls a one, and it didn't really happen so far.
That's funny though that it's a possibility.
Yeah, they know that any time or something really bad can happen. But they also have a warning. They know they rolled the funky dice and everything was a one.
Chim, you're making a lot of dad jokes for not having a dad joke license.
I hear that, and I'm gonna drop the what I needs to be dropped. There you go.
Fan hammer.
The punishment.
No hammer day because he's too busy.
It's the Punisher hammer. It's all caps pun, and then
Oh,
the rest of the
gotcha.
word punish, because it's also a pun in and of itself. That's the
So
irony.
we've got
It's
another
also an iron
question
hammer.
from Loki. Loki has a lot of questions on Discord. They religiously drop questions for almost every interview. So I appreciate them very much.
Yeah, I
Um,
got ready for those. Those were hard.
if DA devs give you a chance to choose one feature, one theme, and one object to add to the tool, excuse me, dealing with a sore throat today.
Yeah, that's the hard one.
What would you
I
pick?
had to think about that. One feature we already talked about the hotkey for collision toggle. That's not really a new feature. It's something that already exists. Uh, I kind of have two that I would like to have in the A. And one of them would be the terraforming tools evolution. That's something that's been talked about. It's really hard currently in the A to good terraforming, and it made it make it look good. Like Highland Lass is the one example that she makes amazing looking terrain, but it takes a lot of effort to carefully tap the map with even at the minimum of everything in the terrain brush to make things look good and more natural. You end up with a lot of rounded edges and structures. So evolved terraforming tools would be really nice to have. You know,
I
roughen
agree.
edges, make things not flat, but the opposite. You know, little bumps that are random. Maybe a brush that makes like a spiral going up. You know how the Fey plane has a map generation that makes like a spirally thing.
Yeah, a hex or a spiral or
Well,
whatever, a star,
yeah.
and yeah.
Imagine a brush that does that kind of shape to the ground. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be cool. It'd also be cool to have a brush that just made nice little square blocks or, just
Yeah.
different shapes in general, more shapes.
Not long ago, Highland Lass had a bug in one of her maps.
Yeah, I had it on
that
stream a
made
few weeks
those
ago on Mapmaker Monday. I
yeah.
just reloaded DA and it disappeared. Because I couldn't terraform the road I was trying to shape. It was just all squared.
Yeah, it would. It was weird. It was like the underground with above the ground, and the A didn't know what to do about with it. So if you were to raise the ground in that area, you will realize that of the mistake and make a flat square. And in her map, it has no, so it was very fascinating to look at. But yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah, terraforming tools.
Honestly, please do submit it. The more we learn about it, the better. But yeah, different shaped brushes, different tools, different like things in general would be great for it. More options, better options for the terraforming tool. Better terrain like choices, more terrain, custom terrain. I think, overall the whole system needs an overhaul.
Yeah, that's the one feature I would like that it's an evolution of an existing feature. A feature I would like that is not in the in any shape or form is to shift the snapping point of objects, and by default also the pivot point. The other day you were dealing with that when you were making in defenses in your map for Map Maker Monday.
Yeah, I'd have to
Where
rotate
you
it
were
a little bit,
yeah,
rotate it a little
rotate it a
bit.
little, then make it coincide with the edge. If you could just shift the point to the corner, you would just place it and then rotate like it's nothing. But sometimes when you're trying to snap stuff, you need to put it by hand. Like if you were to snap a pillar to the grid, it's always the center of a square. You cannot snap to the intersection of four squares, for example.
So
I would love to
the
have
only
more
time you
options.
have control over where things snap in the rotation is if you're importing the asset yourself, which is where you
Yeah.
can set that, which is neat, but also not very helpful on stock objects. And many stock objects probably should rotate from different pivot points. Some, they kind of do it at random. Some do it from their corner, some do it from their center. Some are snap to center, some are snap to edge, and some of the objects within the same category have different snapping properties. So it's very inconsistent. I get it.
Imagine how powerful it would be if you could hit a key and suddenly the snap point lights up. You can see the snap point it has, and you cycle through whatever snap points each object may have, so you can put it. Obviously, not every object needs several snap points, but stuff like walls, pillars could really use something like that. And like I said, also as a possible snap point, the cross point of the grid, because not everything at the A needs is new more objects. Sometimes it's let us use the objects we have in better ways, in simpler ways. That saves so much time.
So the snapping tool in the next update will be really helpful for like fencing and other things.
I have been drooling over that tool. Whenever you show it, it's like, oh my god, yes, give it to me now, 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 now.
That is definitely on its way. And then also the dropper tool is going to speed things up tremendously. Like, hey, what object is this? What, what door is this? What tree is this? You click on it with the dropper tool, and then it goes right to that object in the menu immediately. Like the timing is insanely quick. So this will save people time tremendously when you're like, I have no idea what this is, and I would like to know. And I know objects have tooltips when you highlight like the plus key on an object. That's great. But now you got to go find support beam, and there's like 25 support beams. Which one is it? This will narrow that down tremendously. What I'm talking about is there will be a little dropper tool right here, and you can click it and then click on an object, and then it reveals in the object menu or whatever menu it is what it is. So it's pretty neat. So there's a lot of tools coming in the next update that will speed things up, make object, interactivity even better, including what we've mentioned, but also object rotation on any axis. It's actually really fun, guys and gals. I played with it the other day when I first got access to the dev build, and it is kind of neat. It's pretty fun. And it's pretty intuitive too, because you can do it at like weird angles and stuff. So like tipped angles where it seems like all the objects were on it kind of when it tipped. So it kind of has physics to it a little bit. It's interesting to say the least. Anyway, I'm excited to be able to start sharing that stuff with y'all. Next question for our friend here, Mandu. This is from Atlam. Is D&D your favorite rule system? And if not, which one is? If D&D, which edition is your favorite?
That was almost fully covered as we have been talking about it.
Yeah.
I just started with 5e. We moved on to 5.5 roughly when my players got to level 7. So I've been running that for the last year and a half, roughly. I have been looking at other systems, so like I'm not fully unaware of how they go. Like I've been taking a look at Draw Steel. I also read the rules of Call of Cthulhu because one of my players really likes horror. So I'm like, yeah, I could try to run one of those. But yeah, I don't have much time, so I'm not fully deep into each system. But I'm aware there is more systems, obviously, and not everything you do can be run through D&D rules. It's a simple system, but it's not fully encompassing many things that you could be doing.
It lacks in a few areas for sure, like crafting and travel and, just a few different things in general. But moving on. Thank you, Atlam, for that question. Now that you've had experience with 5.5, though, do you prefer it over 5e?
Yes. The quality of life is everywhere, both for the players and the DM. Obviously, you're going to feel some things are missing, and some things are awkwardly missing. But you already had the experience from before, and 5.5 is not different in that sense. You're gonna have to go dig somewhere else if you need rules for something very specific. But
The
overall,
breakup of actions was one thing I didn't care for in 5.5, but I could see how it also makes things like clearer because it's like
yeah,
so vague in 5e sometimes.
yeah, action economy feels overall extremely better. Like the monk is extremely happy after the change. One of my players running a monk, the fact that he no longer needs to be tied to the attack action to do a flurry of blows has opened up so many options for him. I have seen him use a magic item with an action and then do a flurry of blows. I have seen him just dodge with his action and then flurry of blows, or vice versa. Um, and The monk overall is incredible. And yeah, the paladin as well has been incredible to see. Some people would say, "Oh no, it's nerfed," but honestly, it the limitation on the smites is not been an issue, and the man is still dealing the most damage in the party.
My only experience so far with 5.5 is obviously I bought the books and read through them, but my party uses Bastion mechanics because
I
I
have
just
not
found
touched
them.
those.
Say what?
I have not touched those. They sadly don't fit the campaign I'm running, and it's kind of and we started kind of late for that.
So I I honestly, when I read about it, I just thought it was super cool. Every party wants a base, and the base mechanics in
Mhm,
5e are like really bad. They're just so limiting.
mhm.
And I asked the DM at the time, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll give it a try." So we've been enjoying it. It's pretty fun, and I made it all in DA. I've shared it on the stream. It's great. It's kind of fun to have that, and I think it's fun for the players, especially if they're into those kind of things. But you got to be careful with those kind of stuff because then you can get into accidentally running a spreadsheet game instead of a
Mm.
an adventure game. Um, yeah, Highland Lass wants to know what the Ranger's like for 5.5.
What's the ranger like?
Yeah.
Um, we don't have a ranger in the party. Uh, Depends. If you like Hunter's Mark, you're probably not gonna have any issues
Didn't
with it.
Hunter's Mark get a bonus or like
Uh,
preferred? Isn't the preferred what is it? Preferred target or whatever? They can change it more often now
uh,
instead of like in just
they
once.
they they get a bunch of castings of it for free. And there's a lot of features that say while your Hunter's Mark is active, you can do this or that. So people that don't like the idea of putting their concentration on Hunter's Mark, yeah, it makes sense. You're gonna like that. But sadly, I have not run a ranger nor seen a ranger player beyond one session in one shot. But at least early game, they seem extremely powerful. Like they have options. They can anyone that can get access to the new weapon masteries can just do 2 attacks before level 5. If you're doing smaller weapons like daggers or scimitars.
Mhm.
So it's in a ranger that can add a bunch of dice to that just for because they said I don't like this guy. I'm gonna mark them with a hunter's mark. It adds a lot of damage, and it's like to me, I see the ranger is and it's the perfect mixture of rogue with a fighter, and you also mixed a bit of druid in the blend. It's like the roguish paladin, if you will. But I can see you can easily just rule that. Oh yeah, a certain level, your ranger doesn't need to use concentration on hunter's mark if you really want to bring them up a bit. But they feel fine as I read them. And in practice, I'm not sure. As like I said, I have not run them in an extended time. The only other thing I can tell about the big changes in 5.5 is healing feels incredible. Like I have seen my druid player the other day, he healed about 40 hit points with a first level cure wound because cure wounds he rolled high, but being a druid with one of his transformations for the starry form, he also gets to add 2 more dice and his modifier again. So it's like he cast the spell at 4th level, according to the previous rules.
Dang, that's cool.
So yeah, healing is way more powerful. Every healing spell does double the dice, basically. At least the small
I've
ones.
heard that there's some other things too, like simple like quality of life things, like what is that cantrip that stabilizes people? It has range now and stuff.
Yeah, Spare the Dying has range.
Spare the Dying has range. So little things like that are like kind
Yeah.
of neat sometimes,
Yeah, on
but
the player side, it is a lot of quality of life and improvement. On the DM side, the monsters are simpler to run, but also a bit more deadly. In some cases, some monsters were brought down a bit because they were too deadly before.
gotcha.
And more importantly, the encounter building rules are extremely different. If you were to place an encounter that was considered deadly in the rules before with the 2024 rules, you will find that the 2024 rules tell you it's either easy or just moderate difficulty because of how the multipliers worked on the previous version of that. So I found myself the new rules. Even if you decide I rather keep the old rules, I'm used to them. Go to the Creative Commons, grab yourselves the encounter building rules of 5.5, and try that out. That's all you need.
Cool.
Honestly, it's been incredible. You don't need to think too much. Like my players right now are a bit overtuned because I'm a bit generous with the magic items, but the combats always feel, yeah, this is fine. This is where it should be. It's just moderate. It feels moderate. Whenever I throw a high level encounter to them, it feels like a high level encounter to them.
Awesome. I'm glad that you're able to balance it and it feels good. I honestly should probably try it out with like a one shot sometime just to give it a feel. Um,
Yeah, like I
so
said, the monsters feel
let's go.
threatening.
Go ahead. Sorry, what?
Like I said, the monsters feel better to run, and they are a threat in some points, depending on which monster you're using.
Um, let's see here. Oh, I got another question here from Loki. Um, what was the inspiration for your Discord profile picture? I like it. It reminds me of Orko from the old
Well,
He-Man.
that goes back to the story of me starting my love for making stuff for others in Mario Maker. At some point, when hopping on between streams to just get feedback from people playing my levels, just to make better levels, so people had more fun. Um, a pair of twins, which we are very good friends still. Uh, they knew I usually do all the trickery and system abuse off screen, so magic stuff that would happen on screen for them was actually some engine working outside of their view. So in one level they were playing that was not mine, they found some trickery like that, which that's also why I do all the trickery in the A. I like doing the funky stuff off screen, so you never find out, but it's there. But they were like, "Hey, Mandu, you are the man with the maker eyes. Uh, what's happening here?" So I explained to them, and that triggered a little inspiration in me. The maker eyes. So I made this little faceless blob with the shiny eyes. I'm gonna drop the emote on in chat.
It does look like Orko for sure a lot. I don't know if you watched He-Man.
So make the little guy with the construction helmet because it's we're making stuff.
Gotcha.
And it's the little shiny eyes of, oh, I like that. I want to do that. I have this crazy idea that's gonna do this crazy thing. So that's the little maker, and that's the inspiration behind it. The one that you see now in Discord is basically the GM version of that. Instead of the helmet, has a little hood, and it's behind the DM screen.
Did you call him the Little Maker?
It's the little maker.
Lisa Nagaib. Sorry, the Dune thing. Anyway, let's see here. Do we have other questions? I believe we do. Hold on. I think there was one that came from Highland Lass. Do you ever use real places as inspiration for your DA maps?
Um. Oh, my D&D places are so like very specific, and I focus so much on functionality over reality. Like for example, the dungeon you saw before. I forgot the bathroom because yeah, I was not thinking about the bathroom when I made it. And it should have a bathroom. But
It haunts you to this day.
yeah, everything haunts me at all times. The couch in the middle of the hallway always haunts me as well. Um, but there's a few times there's a map I did not send you. I can probably find it and send it your way. That did I never used. I think I never finished. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's this one. That remember Mac the some time ago in Discord I showed you in one of the Discord streams something we have in one of our resorts for tourists, the hand of God coming from the sand.
Oh yeah, you showed that to me. I
I
remember
used
that.
that as inspiration for one map. Send it your way. Should be small. Also a legacy map.
Stand by.
It's probably not finished because the players decided not to go that way. They left the city in a different manner. But I used that as an inspiration for the hand coming out of the sand, and in a little tourist spot that obviously you know how business people work. They found these giant skulls under the middle of the desert, and they were like, you know what? Let's make business in here. This people really want to see this. So let's make a little hotel under the sand here.
Getting
And
this loaded now. One moment.
and yeah, using the stone hand in from DA made it very big because collision toggle. Yeah, it's that one. Uh, there you have it. By the big skull, you have the fingers coming out of the sand. That's the one place where I can say, yeah, that's inspired by a real life place that I have close by.
Fantastic.
Yeah, this is not a finished map. Also, legacy map. It's very old.
So really quickly, we had a question over on YouTube, and I just want to address it really quick. Locke, if you're still here, relating to mirrored objects, I haven't seen any progress on the development end for a couple reasons. It's not necessarily a straightforward process in Unity to just mirror something, to flip it. You know what I mean? Or yeah, to mirror it in the opposite direction. So it's something the devs are carefully considering, and how to implement is something they'll have to probably design from scratch with how the way Dungeon Alchemist is designed. That said, there are other things being worked on in relation to objects that we've discussed at length in this stream, but just so you're aware, things like rotating objects on any axis, locating objects easily by just clicking them and figuring out where they are in the menu, decals, objects that link together more fluidly so you can paint them and line them, things like fences or structural objects that you may place a lot of, but now it's much easier to use. Anyway, so no hopes. I'm an early supporter, but I'm still blocked because of doors. What do you mean by that? I mean, honestly, I at the end of the day, I understand why you want it and why some things are, it'd be so nice if this door was facing the other direction. But I often have to remind myself that my players won't notice or care usually. So if that's holding you back that much, usually your players will never notice it. That the doors open in the same direction or, aren't mirroring each other perfectly in some instances. Mainly because doors opening isn't something that you see in like a virtual tabletop ever, or a printed map. It's almost always in a fixed position and closed. But at the end of the day, I understand where you're coming from and what you're looking for. It's just something that's going to take some time, and it isn't really something that is straightforward. And there are a lot of aspects of Dungeon Alchemist still to go, things that were, promised through our Kickstarter, particularly. Anyway. Morgana, how you doing? Welcome back. Okay. back to the interview here with our friend Mandu. We've got another question from Highland Lass. Do you find detail? Do you find the detail we are prone to as map makers and DA to put in? Usually, when I get carried away, can make players home in on something that isn't necessarily relevant to the game.
There is two ways to go about it. One, sit moth. You can leave a couch in the middle of the hallway. Some players are not gonna see it unless you point it out. But in a small room, if you put too much detail, it can actually detract from the player's attention. Not every player is the same. Uh, some players are going to assume that everything you put in a map is important or of relevance, and it could lead to, hey, what is this? What is that? Kind of questions. I usually, when I make a map, worry mostly on the parts that I prepared for. Like if I were to make a map of a village or something, I will usually make a single room that's visible, and then the rest is just roofs. And if the player somehow go into that building, I have my own brain to figure out. Yeah, this is a house. You enter the house. There is 5 children. They are looking at you as they awkwardly stop chanting "Happy Birthday." Um, we figured out what's happening inside. If the players happen to go inside, otherwise, keeping the excess of detail focused on exactly what you need them to be is usually the better. If you're making maps to run a game, if you're making a map for a general use, like say Zach making a map to for his patron, yeah, that's when you go all out on detail and add more stuff because that's not up to you to decide what section of the map is relevant.
To
But
be honest, I've heard Sack say usually toning it down is better, less is
yeah,
more.
yeah,
Um,
because sometimes if you have too much detail and you give it that map to a dungeon master, suddenly their players are starting to make questions they never thought about. Like, what? Why is this dagger with a bit of blood on this table? What happened here? And the dungeon master had no idea that was there because they just got the map. But
t-
if you're making the map yourself, that then that dagger probably has a purpose. You didn't put it like there because of nothing. It's a dagger with a bit of blood. It has a motive.
I think it really depends on the group too, Highland
Yeah,
Lass, to be honest with you.
depends a lot on the
Some
group.
groups will not notice a couch in the hallway, and others will literally pour over every detail. I'm a very detail oriented person, so I'll notice little things in maps often and be like, what is that? And hone in on it. And usually it's nothing. I
Yeah,
found that
absolutely.
a good DM will use that as an opportunity, though, to pave a path forward and make new story and interaction. So usually I end up being my own worst enemy, I've found. That being said, um, I think it can go both ways very easily, depending on the group or the player. But, I think a pinch of detail is never a bad thing. Mixed with the occasional maps that are more bland. Not everywhere is super detailed in the real world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I could walk around in, just past my neighborhood and it's like all desert as far as you can see. And it gets kind of boring after a while. It's like very repetitive, scenery. So I can see how in some places out in the wild, you just need a generic map with not a whole lot to it. But maybe if you're in, the castle keep that's been around for 600 years and it's filled with all cool antiquities and paintings and, rugs and treasures and, lots of history, it makes sense to add a lot of detail. Anyway, but yeah, I do myself as well spend a lot of time fixated on detail when more often than not, people will never ever notice it in a game. Um,
yeah.
I say this often, your players are usually there to kick goblin butt and take and like grab loot. Not more often than not, they're not noticing the minutia in maps. So
Yeah. There's several kinds of players. You have people like you said that you are not gonna see the couch in the middle of the hallway. Then you have players like me that, as a graphic designer, I can notice a single pixel is out of place, and I will notice. Oh yeah, you exported this as 72 DPI. I can tell. But from the DM standpoint, when I make a map, I need to balance time. I have about 3 hours, and I do it right the day before the session. I run my games at 5 in the morning, So I start doing map work and session prep roughly after the damn stream ends, and and work for a bit on that, and then I have to go to sleep. So I don't have the time to sit and add extreme amount of detail. Only the detail I need. And if I figure I need, oh wait, I need to figure something out, something else. Uh, yeah, the blood can be in the player's imagination. Like sometimes you also make something before you finish the details, and the map doesn't match. The other day I had to run a session, and I need to tell my players, hey, there's not two scales here. There's only one. So forget the second scale you see in the map, and then that happens. The map is at
Do
your
not
service. You're
believe
not
your
at the service of the map.
eyes.
Yeah, yeah. But at the end, I think that's a good mentality to have. The map is at your service. You are not at the service of the map.
Let's see here. Next, not so much a question, but just some appreciation. This is from Sack. Not a question as such, just a hello with an A. Very Hobbit-like. And thanks to Mandu for all the excellent maps and help for players over the years. You are a very
Thank you,
good
Zach.
help to our community. You're constantly diving in and assisting in Discord and on the stream as well. So I appreciate your insight.
I like to hop in and just give an answer if I have it, or help with the techniques and ways to do things in DA. Because, like I said earlier, DA is an early access software. So the more people we have that know how to use it properly or push it to its limits, the better feedback the devs are going to get, the better information regarding the use they're going to have. And that's going to make DA better, faster, and stronger.
Agreed.
The only one who can benefit from that is us.
Agreed. So, Mondu, we've just pushed over a little over the hour mark. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to move on to our other segments, but I've had so much fun having you on the stream today. It's been an absolute blast to have you here, pick your brain, get to know you a little bit better, finally put a face to the name after all this time.
Hey, this is the second time I use this camera since COVID. So it's been a while.
Morgana Gray Rogue Old Lady on YouTube says Heart Mondu.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, we're gonna let Mondu step away here in a moment. Do you have any last minute questions or feedback, commendations for Mondu? Anyone? Yes, thank you so much for taking the times from Sack. I got to double that as well, and I appreciate you meeting up with me early so we could do AV checks. I know we had some issues there for a minute, but we got it sorted. Appreciate the patience.
That's why we have that for. You said it best.
Exactly. That's the whole purpose. And thank you, for coming on the stream, spending your time with us, sharing your insight, your expertise here, as well as, anywhere you happen to be, whether it's Blue Sky or Discord or, in your game. And I appreciate what you do for our community.
I appreciate the community. Like I said earlier, I feel like the weird guy here. Like, you have had incredible people here, and suddenly I'm the one here. I know that, everyone behind me, but I'm
don't sell
I'm happy to
yourself
be
short,
here.
my friend. You're a valued member of our community.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and yeah, you're gonna find me in the Discord asking some question, probably breaking the A in some way, like getting snow underground, getting caves entrances like they shouldn't be, and duplicating objects before we can actually do it because of updates. Um, there's always something weird in the A to be found and abused. And,
So we've got
map better.
DM Crusader says, thank you for taking the time to do this. Atlam says it was good to put a face to the name. Pike says, thanks, Mondu. Bane says, appreciate the folks who put so much time into making wonderful maps and environments to share with the players and the community when they do. Morgana says, thanks for the interview. Chim says, thank you, Mandu. Good interview. And Highland Last says, thank you. Okay. So
Thank you all.
appreciate you very much, my friend. I hope you have a lovely evening, and we'll chat again soon. Appreciate you being an amazing guest today on the stream, and everyone that was here during this segment. Thank you for being so awesome and being on your best behavior. Mandu, appreciate you so very, very much, but I've got to send you on your way. So you have a lovely evening, my friend. Bye.
Bye.
Let's move my cam back down. We'll mute the collab cam. And then him and I are in a call in Discord, which I'm going to disconnect from. Alrighty, stand by. Let me turn the music back on. DJ Mac is in the house. Oh, is it too loud? Probably way loud, huh? There we go. Well, I said I was in the house. I was coming in with a big drop there. Hopefully that's better. Alrighty. Before we move on to our next segment, I just need a couple minutes. I gotta fill my water up because I am out. And then we'll get right back into it. So we're going to go into our Q&A segment. If you have any questions for Dungeon Alchemist or about Dungeon Alchemist support, development questions, guidance in your map making, whatever, let me know. Excuse me. We'll spend the next 10, 20 minutes addressing questions from our community. Afterwards, we will go on to another segment. Excuse me, another segment. Alrighty, sorry about that, everyone. I'm back. Sorry. We have a filter for our water. It's like a big Brita filter, and it was out of water when I filled my cup. So I filled the filter, and it took me just a bit of time is all. Sorry about that. Takes forever to fill when it's empty because you have to wait for it to filter like twice. So, how was everyone's week? Let's discuss that really quickly. Did we get any questions while I was gone? Does not look like I have any questions that came in, so we could skip the Q&A segment today. How would you like a quick sneak peek at the update? I mean, there's really nothing to say. There's nothing new. No new information, DM Crusader. The devs have to come up with a clever way to make mirroring work within the Unity ecosystem. Yeah, I mean, it would be great if you could just flip the door in a mirror kind of setup or windows mirrored. It'd be nice. I do agree. Mhm. Does anyone have any fun plans for the weekend? Mother's Day is the plan. Yep, it's Mother's Day tomorrow. I already sorted out Mrs. Mac's Mother's Day gift by building her those garden beds and her workbench. Anyway, I'm good, Story Mode Hero. How are you? Welcome to the stream. So, what I was going to show is this dropper tool. Notice you can highlight doors, windows, walls. Seems to be showing the inner wall, but not the outer wall. Good to know. Hey, Cave Beast, how are you doing? You know what? That's fine. Video game away, my friend. So notice... Ah, this is new too. Assets with variants. So any assets that have variance will have a 3 dot on it. It's very small. It's hard to see. It's kind of faint. Wow, if you hold the Alt key, you can access the object picker. So you can just not do it and then hold Alt. That kind of neat. I guess this is a great way to know which object you're currently highlighting. Like if a bunch of objects are packed together, you know which collider you're touching. It's pretty neat, fam. You gotta admit it, it's pretty cool. Just noticed my UI was a little off. Excuse me. Let's test it with roofing. Works with the roof, but not the exterior wall. Huh. Very cool, though, that it tells you, like, all these things. That didn't go right to it, for sure. Isn't that like this? Oh, it is highlighted down here. See it? It just didn't go to it in the menu. That's pretty cool, though. Needs some work still, but it's coming along for sure. That is fantastic, just going right to the object. Y'all see how this is happening, right? So I'm pushing Alt, which then allows me to highlight it, so I can click it, then it goes right to it in the menu. So if there's a floor or a wall in a room or an object you want to replicate really quickly or find it in the menu, you can. Cave Beast, what games you gonna play? Yeah, I made some garden beds, story mode hero. It was a lot of fun. I like to think I'm basically an amazing husband. Not to toot my own horn or anything. So yeah, that object picking tool gonna be great. Let's check something else out that'll be great. Interesting, Cave Beast. I've not heard of it, but that sounds cool. Everything is crab. There's light peeking through somewhere on this door. It's bugging out. Like through the cracks of it. You know, Spore ended up you kind of go in only a few directions too for like the best stuff. Let's try this. Hand-drawn table. Whoa, there's a lot of hand-drawn assets. Holy cow. Look at all these. That candle looks weird. There's so many hand-drawn assets. Like, oh my goodness. The skull. I don't know why. This is just very humorous. I don't know if you've noticed, there's also a change to the object menu. Free mode. Weird. What just happened? Humorous. Yeah, I think they opted for a phrasing that was more definitive as to what it would do. Collision toggle usually just meant collisions only to people. A lot of people, they didn't know it did the other things. So this is more, it was either an advanced menu that showed like all the options it could do and you could turn them on and off. So it was like, oh, you could disable rotation or enable rotation or disable scaling or, you know, disable collisions. But they didn't want an enhanced menu because they want to keep it simple. Yeah, exactly. This keeps it simpler. But this will be great, right? Like, imagine. How many objects, Zach, have you put on the workshop that are going to be rendered obsolete now that you can rotate things? What's your plans with that? Are you going to just like delete a bunch of objects? Leave them? I was curious. This feels like the construct area for Matrix before all the guns load in. I need guns. Lots of guns. Yeah, for real, Sack. Ultimately, the things you remove, though, can be fixed by anyone using the maps. But yeah, it could delete a lot of objects. It makes sense. Shlomo, these features will release in the next update, which is Fun with Objects Part 2, which at this time, I don't have an ETA other than hopefully by the end of the summer. What? Brain bomb? You can just call it the bio. It is so bright, by the way. Oh my gosh. So, were any of you here the other day when I was doing my recap from my Sunday session from D&D? Because some of you may have missed it. And if anyone wants to hear it, I'd love to share. And for those wondering what I'm talking about, my group gets together once a month. And usually the stream loves to hear the aftermath of what happened and get a recap. So Chim, of course, you being busy doing other real world things. How dare you? So basically some interesting things happened. What is essentially a very big arc point happened in our campaign. So several arcs ago, when we first started our campaign, we were framed by a guy named Rorik the Blackclaw, which ended up getting us all in the same prison cell together. We escaped together, and we ended up meeting up with a kind of a shady contact, but they were willing to help us and provide us shelter if we did jobs for them that also were aimed at Rorik the Blackclaw because they didn't like them and wanted to angle in on their business, right? So it worked out for us. We started doing these jobs for this person, ended up kind of crescendoing where we took out Rorik the Blackclaw, and on his person, he had an item, an encoded message. Our DM, very cool, gave us these neat little cipher discs that you can like line up things and rotate to decode messages, and then he's upgraded them to these ones that are a little bit cooler. Anyway, we deciphered the message and it pointed us towards essentially locating a key called the Black Sigil, which we weren't sure what it was. We thought it was a book or something, but anyway, that book was our next arc. We tracked it down in a dungeon. Can't remember the name of it. Carthax Hollow. We cleared out Carthax Hollow, got the book, right? That book was the key to Vorthun's Maw, which is where we're at now. We cleared out the entrance of the Maw over the last like 2 sessions, and we are now at the gate at this massive 50-foot door, and there's like these sigils, symbols on the ground. And we were confused as to like whether or not this was where we used the Black Sigil. And we wanted to make sure we didn't have to use it more than once. The Black Sigil is a wondrous object. It's a book that people can attune to. None of us attune to it because it's cursed. The curse is that anytime you roll a 1 on it, your shadow, which is now possessed and sentient, will take control of your body and can do stuff in your place. So like me, I had all these crazy spells that could use on the party. I didn't want that. No one wanted to turn on the party accidentally, so none of us attuned to it this whole time. We just kind of kept it stashed away. I was really paranoid about it because we had gotten intel that a cult was looking for it, and so I didn't want it to go missing or people come after us. I literally stashed this book. It was wrapped in a lead sheet, and that sheet was put in a granite safe that weighs like 7 tons. And that granite safe was inside of our portable hole, which the portable hole was then hidden in a small, like, hidden compartment in my sleeve in my jacket. So essentially, it was just tucked away, layers of security, because my character's super paranoid. No one ever used the object, but it gives you access to like control shadows, scare people. You can see in dark vision, both darkness and magical. Gave you some other abilities, but none of us used it. And then we come up to this door where we're supposed to use the sigil to open the door. It will destroy it. And we discussed as a party during our off time if one of us wanted to attune to this book before we destroy it, because there's one little bit of text at the end of the description that says if you're bound to this book when it's destroyed, your shadow is destroyed forever, making you shadowless. We have chaotic people in our party that have cursed items, but this one crossed the line a little too much for the whole group. We decided no one should use it. Out of everyone, I was the one person they said that would be like the least likely to cause problems and get the most benefit, because I am a halfling and I have the luck trait as well. So I have halfling luck and luck, so I could essentially negate this. If I ever rolled a 1, just roll again, right? But we just didn't really want to sow that much chaos on the party in the interim, because we didn't know how long we'd have this book until we destroyed it. From the time we got the book till the time we destroyed it was like 12 sessions. Or like, no, it may be like 8 to 12 sessions, somewhere in there. Let me think. No, I don't know. It was some sessions. Let's just say it was a few sessions. It was like 8 sessions. So we essentially didn't want this thing to become a liability. So anyway, we decided, because we were like, hey, we're at this gate, it's kind of a break point. We used divination and another spell called dire warning to kind of learn a little bit about the future, to find out if this was in fact the place where we destroy the sigil. We got that information and we decided to destroy it. So I attuned to it. The whole party held back and I went up and activated it. And as it activated, my shadow was sucked from my body, like from around me, and then thrashed into the door and opened it and like destroyed it. And now I don't have a shadow. So now my character is shadowless, which is interesting in my opinion. I find it kind of cool. So I now have this neat new trait, right? We just then go in, we see beyond this door, there's another door and there's an inscription above it. We get the inscription and it's like a riddle that I don't quite remember, but it gives us a bunch of context clues. And we deduce that, like, basically to open this door, we got to conjoin our shadows into one and move across the room. And once we do this and open the door, it'll close behind us and we can't come back. We're likely being teleported, or like it'll just seal. And I no longer have a shadow, so I can't necessarily be on the edge. We decide to put me in the middle of the group, like of the huddle. And we walk across the room. And before we open this door, I basically, I have this kind of trick I use because I have Nolzur's Marvelous Pigments. I call it Nolzur's Marvelous Peephole. We use it in dungeons constantly, and it has saved us so much trouble. I'll just go down to the ground and do like a tiny little peephole-sized hole in the wall. And then I usually will hold up my cloak to block any light and peek right in, right? So I have done that several times. What is up with my map? I cannot click that. That's really weird. Huh. Anyway, so we peek through and I can see some guys, and I use minor illusion to show my team what they look like. We have seen some of these dudes before, so we prepare. There was a basilisk. We have a bastion workshop, and our workshop crew, after we encountered basilisk before, we had them come up with a way for us to hang mirrors on our shields, like just mount them on and then take them off. And we have steel mirrors, so we can put them on our shields when we need to. So we mounted our mirrors, and then we prep to open the door. We open the door, go through, get into combat, and start fighting. This room is just a small little walkways, and everything's surrounded by lava. Lava on all sides. And there's guys way down the walkways in one direction, guys way down the walkway in the other, and then guys right when we come out the door. So we come out swinging, take out the basilisk in round 1. There is a pyromancer and some little like fire salamanders that we can see. We're starting to combat them, and then a fire elemental comes out of the lava at us. Everything was lava, in fact. I do not speak Spanish. Is there any chance can someone translate that for me, Atlam, or could you try dropping in English for me, my friend? I block light, clearly can still block light. I just don't have a shadow. Like if I put up my hood as a cape, it blocks the light from passing. Just like a door blocks the light, but I don't cast a shadow. I know, it's weird. Yeah, let's address that. So, why can I not click Dungeon Alchemist at all? Let me reload Dungeon Alchemist. Something's up. Like, none of the UI lets me click it. I've never had that happen before. That's a good question. I don't know. I never asked. You know, I think he mentioned that it's not that silly, like, oh, you don't cast a shadow, but your stuff does. It's like everything you're wearing also doesn't cast a shadow. That said, there's a difference between blocking a light source and casting a shadow, in my opinion, okay? The absence of light is not always the same as a shadow. Does that make sense? That's like saying all of space is a shadow. Yeah, I probably could, huh? I probably could also do it with minor illusion. Let me generate a new map so I can show you. I think the issue was the UI was frozen because I'm in a pre-alpha build at the moment. Oh, it's stationary? Okay. Couldn't I do a... Ooh. Couldn't I technically use a disguise self and make the shadow part of my costume? It's like seriously Peter Pan style, though. It's like a draping shadow that... I'm wondering, right? Okay, to make a thicker wall than a traditional room, like when you just draw a room, you're going to have thin walls like this, right? These are, you know, they're still pretty thick. These are like a foot thick, really. At the end of the day, they're pretty, well, about 6 to 12 inches thick, somewhere in there. Now, let's say you wanted to make thicker walls. Really, the easiest way to do it is instead of using the room tool and relying on the edges of what it is as the wall, use the room tool to draw walls. So what I do is I turn off like walls and I turn off doors and turn off windows, turn off objects. Then I select a room type like castles. Castles usually have nice stone walls. Doesn't matter which room I pick. What I'm going to do is how I shape the room ends up being a wall. So I'm going to do, let's say, a 10-foot thick wall and draw it like this. I'm going to extend it like this. And I'm going to make like a little fortress wall around this building that we just created a moment ago. You know what? Hold on. Let me generate that without a roof. So at this point, we have what is a 10-foot thick wall, right? This whole center area is just dead space. Your players don't even need to know it exists. And how you can solve that is just by putting like a flat roof on it, like a crenulated roof. Now that's a 10-foot thick wall. Done. You can do that 5-foot thick. You can do it 15-foot thick, 20-foot thick. You can make this the wall around your entire base and have the inside, or a building even. If you want thicker walls around a building, you can replicate this same exact thing here. So, but just keep in mind, you're going to have to compensate, you know, for the fact that the building's so thick with extra windows and stuff. Sorry, I didn't realize. Is this mimicking something you're working on right now, Highland Lass? So this is just me essentially making this wall. Oh, I'm on the second floor, my bad. Let's go down a level. We'll generate it here. And for all intents and purposes, your players do not need to know that that exists in there. What else can I do here? Let's do Alt. Oh no, I crashed it. Either way, you can do city walls, you can do thicker walls around a building. Should be able to solve that there. Okay, where was I on my storytelling? I think we've shown enough of the build for today. That was quite a sneak peek, probably more than I should have. It's okay though, right? Smart. I usually seal it off where I don't like where I want them coming through. So like if I plan to let them come through you know, through a door, I'll just put walls and do double doors so it's like a whole sealed area. Island Lass, I am not spying on you, though. I promise. I know you're joking with me, but it's just funny. All similarities between our maps are purely coincidental. Okay, where was I? Lava channels. So we bust out the door, basically go in fighting this first group, take out the basilisk right away, and then the fire elemental pushes us back kind of into the room. We're in the room's like a 20, it's a 10 by 10 room, and then there's a double door going into the kind of open space, and then there's a tons of lava in the room, and then these kind of like channeled walkways, stone walk paths in between the lava. And there's one kind of up to the top of the room, one going south, and then kind of a platform right where we come out. That's where the fight was taking place. We were trying to push out so we weren't boxed in or like in a straight line, but this fire elemental with heat damage to it pushed us back a little bit. So let's see here. We kind of divide and conquer, and everyone's kind of focusing on different things. The fire elemental, if I remember, was like a huge creature. Our debuffer, she reduced him, made him smaller, so his aura was smaller. It gave us some more room to breathe. We took him out pretty quickly. I think it was like 2 rounds. You know, just combined damage. And I'm running as a scribes wizard, so I'm hitting with good damage because I can change my damage type. So normally like Firebolt's my best cantrip. Now it's Cold Bolt or Chill Bolt or Shocking Bolt because I have all those damage types as cantrips as well. So I can flip them into it using the Scribes Wizard feature, which, by the way, forgot if anyone didn't know, I changed my Wizard subclass from Divination to Scribes. I found my Portent was just too disruptive to the group, and I didn't really want to keep interrupting everyone's play. So and because the way we play online, it's like I have to be like, Portent, you want a Portent? Please don't forget a Portent. Anyway, so I basically opted to not do it for a while. I'm going to try something else, see how it goes for me. Goodness, why is... I might have pressed yes, and that was bad. Because it can't recover a map from another build. I can't wait to see it, Highland Lass. Okay, so first kind of fight, pretty much all the guys were taken out pretty quick. We stepped out onto this pad of stone, kind of fanned out. I had my awakened mind, and I had it moving further and further out because they can't attack it, and I wanted to see what was ahead of us. And I could see guys in every direction, fighting groups, you know, kind of defending paths. And I say, hey, let's go south because it'll be probably the least likely we'll run into extra groups. And so we start doing that. We start pushing down. fight another pyromancer, a couple of lava salamanders, and then we can see these kind of like lava rock golems. I don't know what they are exactly, off in the distance. We're taking them out one thing after another. It was quite interesting, to say the least. And I'm now just realizing I forgot a part of the story that was kind of crucial. Would you all like me to just rewind like 5 minutes and tell that part? Or would you just like me to keep going? Okay, where are we now? Let's go check out some workshop maps. I subscribed to a few this week. Let's take a look at them. I like looking at maps on the workshop and then like using them sometimes in videos. So, remember earlier when my shadow was ripped from me and I became shadowless and the door opened? I forgot to mention that a fight was triggered then. As soon as that door opened, a massive construct ran out and it had like 4 arms, big axe and hammer arms, and it was like swinging all over the place. It was huge, and I'm like the only thing there, and I'm a halfling. All my party was like on the other side of the room just in case there was a trap. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I rolled pretty bad on my initiative, so I used a luck point to re-roll, and it made it better, but he still went before me. He attacked once, and I got a shield off, and that protected me. But then he hit me with an attack that had a save, and I got hit for 15 damage. And it's funny because I laughed because that's the biggest hit I've taken the entire campaign. Like literally 10 plus, year of playing plus. And I have only taken like maybe 5 damage in one session prior. I barely ever get hit. And I'm like level 8, so it's not that big of a deal. But that was like a quarter of my health in a single hit. And then it was our fighter's turn. He uses a like cunning action dash to get up closer. And then he attacks the guy, misses with his first attack, hits him with his second attack. Our rest of our team's attacking from range with spells. And then it's finally my turn. I use Misty Step to get out of there because I'm just not built to take hits, right? I'm usually at range or mid-range. And if I get up close, it's usually because like I have a specific skill we need. So I back off and I, keep casting from range. We take out the guy in like 2-3 rounds. That's afterwards, we then see the other door, move in as a group, get through the door, peek through the door, go through and start fighting the basilisk and all the guys in the lava room. So that was a pretty quick retcon there. So we're in this room, pushing down this kind of stone path to the south of the map, taking out, various lava monsters, various fire salamanders, various like just all these fire-based creatures that are likely resistant or immune to fire. It stank. Okay, it was a bummer because like half of our party loves fire and they can't use it. Me, on the other hand, I wasn't too worried. I cast a cold ball on a big group of them and took 2 of them out, and one of them was damaged really hard and the other one saved. So I transmuted the damage of my fireball into cold, as well as I did it to force once, because I have, let's see here, I have magic missile, which can upcast to, where fireball is. And then I also have, what is it called? Chromatic orb, which has a bunch of different damage types. Anyway, so I can transmute those damage types to other spells, saving me a lot of hassle if something's immune or resistant. Finally, we kind of push down and we see a bunch of guys in front of us. And one of the dudes, like, is huge, like a big rock golem covered in lava. And I asked my teammate, who I preemptively asked if he'd be cool with me polymorphing him, because I took that as a new spell. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'd be cool with it. So I let him know if it was cool, because he was down to like 20 HP. He'd been taking a lot of hits. during the previous fights. And he was like, sure. So I turned him into a giant ape. And he immediately just gets some of the sickest damage rolls. He was doing like 30 plus damage multiple times, hitting people. And essentially was just dropping people by himself. He's now maining our front line, and our lines got divided because one of those rock golem things swam through the lava and came around to the other side and split the party. So we're kind of like fighting on both ends, but he's holding the front line by himself. So we're thinking next session, because we ended basically mid-combat. We're still in combat because we ran out of time. So this ape has easily killed like 3 or 4 guys already and is doing huge damage, but he's also taking damage. So I'm thinking we do a round just buffing him by like, you know, like we can give him haste, we can give him temp HP or healing, we can give him, you know, mage armor, and give him just like all these buffs, right? To boost him and make him stronger. And it would just be hilarious to see how long we can hold him in ape form, because it polymorph lasts an hour. And he has ranged attacks and close-up multi-attacks, so he can do a lot of damage, especially if he's hasted. Oh, we could also enlarge him. But as soon as he comes out, I was like, ape strong together. And then he just started wrecking. It was really funny. So the session ended. We've got guys in front of us that we can see, and a teleportation circle off in the distance. My awakened mind has been kind of pushing up, not so much to provoke people, but to spy at different angles and get a good wide view of the room. A, because you can cast through it, and B, you can spy through it. Telepathy and like communications from it, like you can see and what it sees and hear what it hears, no action required. So it's essentially like having a second set of eyeballs out there. Anyway, a lot of fun. Session was great. We're meeting up next month. June 14th is what we have locked in. And then in July, we're going to do 2 sessions. Because in the month of July, it's my birthday and also my son's birthday. And I thought, hey, it'd be fun for our birthdays to do an extra D&D session. My son was like, heck yes. So we're going to do an extra D&D session in the month of July. Very hyped about that. Anyway, it was fun telling that story with this lovely backdrop of a village by tropism. I hope the story was engaging and entertaining for y'all. So we got an interview with Mandu today. We got a sneak peek at some new features in the new build, which I was so pleased to share with y'all. We got D&D story time. We got some Q&A. Excuse me. Quite a lot's been covered today. You know, it's funny. I used to play a lot of Battlefield, right? And in Battlefield games, when a sniper's aiming at you, their scope like glints, like really bright. And in older games, before they get it right, it usually is glints so bright it like blinds you. It's insane. It's like, okay, they might as well just be using some kind of blinding weapon instead. And we used to joke about that by posting memes about the sniper glint, and people would try to just find the most bright looking thing. And there's like a meme of Gizmo, the Mogwai from Gremlins. And if you don't know what Gremlins is, I'm sorry. But he's like getting like flashed by like a mirror light or something, and he falls off the couch. Anyway, we would like do that, like little memes like that to each other in our game chats about it, because it was so bright. But that's exactly what it reminds me of, that little GIF you have there, or your little icon, I mean, emoji. Ah, gotcha. There was another GIF we'd pull up, and it's like, you know, the traditional like scene in animes where the guys like push up their glasses, right? But there's one like that where the glasses glint really hard off of light, and it just goes super bright, like white bright. It's funny. Man, the tropism really, really did good with this one. It's such a beautiful map. Hey, I didn't know you were here. I think my favorite is all these little pieces of roofing you put in yourself with like dog houses, and because it really just adds a lot of flair to it. Yep, the roof blending was peak. Mother Mafia Gaming lurking while playing. No worries. Hope you're having a wonderful game. So yesterday I met a new streamer on Twitch, and they were making a Dungeon Alchemist map, and I drop in, and like their friend told them about Dungeon Alchemist, and they were in chat as well, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous." It made me laugh. I love going into people's streams and checking them out, checking out people's videos, checking out people's social media content related to Dungeon Alchemist as much as I can. Just love dropping in, sharing some love, and disappearing into the night as quickly as I arrived. Just kidding. You did a great job. Honestly, I'm not that clever there, Tropism. That was completely accidental. Giving me way too much credit, my friend. You know, I'm not gonna lie, this week kicked my butt. Making the garden beds, getting them all like filled with soil and lining them and stapling them. So I have a hand stapler that was like my dad's from his workshop from like, you know, the 80s and 90s. Man, that thing did a number on my tendons. I lost my grip for like 2 days after stapling those I did like 200, 300, maybe 300 to 600 staples, I'd imagine. Somewhere in that range between all three boxes and all the liner. Might have done a little too much. Who knows? I don't know. But a lot of fun. It was a lot of manure too. Yeah, it actually is like a solid piece of metal. And it's got like a cool little magazine you can pull out. I don't have many of my dad's tools because my stepmother like kept them after my dad passed, or like pawned a lot of them, got rid of them. My dad lost a lot of them when he was in prison, stuff like that. So I'm super grateful for my grandfather's tools, because it's just like great to get something like that piece of your family history and keep it and use it. I got to figure out how to sharpen chisels. I found all my grandpa's chisels in the stuff he gave me, and a few of them are kind of dull. And I've got a grinder that he gave me, so I'm thinking I got to figure that out next. Probably lose a finger in the process. So I got a new 3D printer. And I set it up yesterday. And I have just got to say, 3D printers have changed so much. Like, I am a big advocate for 3D printing. I have, well, now 4 of them. One of them's being retired. Well, I'm going to tune it up and try it. I'm going to give it to my son so he can use it for his own stuff and keep it after he moves out someday. But I guess down to 3 then. But when I started 3D printing, it was a completely different ballgame. The size of the print space, multicolor printing, it was at best you'd get 2 colors if you had 2 nozzles, you know? And like the print build was small. There's no such thing as removable build plates or auto leveling and if this makes no sense to you, any of you, I apologize. And for those that do understand 3D printing, like it's nuts. Auto leveling alone is a huge feature. I am going to be printing a lot. This printer has a little hole, like a head unit where you can put in 4 rolls of filament. It's FDM. It's a Bamboo X2D. I have a small resin printer. Resin is not my favorite, though I wonder if newer technology has gotten better. If printing on an old regular FDM printer is hard, I despise resin printing. It's so difficult because there's so much maintenance and like it smells. You got to do proper filtration. But, you know, I used to do a ton of 3D printing, but both of my FDM printers have been on the fritz. I got a Bamboo printer. Yes. So I have a FlashForge Creator Pro, which is being retired. It's 10 years old. I've got a TiVo Tornado, which was my large volume printer because it has a huge print bed and it can print like 1.5 feet tall. And then I have a resin printer that's a Anycubic Photon, which is a 1st gen Photon. And it's got a small print area, but it's great for like minis and little prototypes and knobs and switches and stuff like that. But I haven't done much FDM printing in the last few years because both of my printers are just a pain. Every time I print something, leveling the bed by hand and, the filament's not extruding correctly. And guess what? You can't get this part for this printer anymore. So probably going to be garbage. Or if you do find it, it's way overpriced. Or, hey, you can print it yourself, but a printed one won't last that long. And you can't print it on a printer that isn't working, so I don't know, it just limits you. Anyway, I'm very excited to be in like a new printer ecosystem that's a little bit more straightforward. I didn't realize it had all these features. It has like built-in cameras. You can watch it from your computer or your phone remotely. You can send jobs to it remotely. So if the print bed is clean and ready to go, you can just send a job to it. And so I could be like out hanging out. My printer could be on and I could send a job to it and it'll get started. It has the ability to monitor like temperatures and other settings remotely. The head unit that holds all the filament can hold 4 colors, and then the side holds 1, so it can do 5 color max simultaneously. And that head unit dehydrates and like dries the filament because filament can get moisture in it and it ruins it and makes it bubble and stuff. So it like has all these features built into it that are really cool. Anyway, I'm excited to play with it a little bit more today. I did my first print earlier. It finished right as the stream started. I say this unironically when the first thing I printed for it's called a poop chute. So Bamboo printers, when they change colors, they excrete out the back of the printer in a chute on the backside, a small little glob of filament. And the community literally calls them poops. So there's a whole bunch of chute designs that are like trash compartments that hold them. Yeah, I printed essentially what I would actually constitute like a commode for my printer. And now, yeah, anyway. So when it changes colors, it makes like a tiny little glob of print. I'm considering just separating them by color to recycle later, because there's things you can do with them. There's filament recyclers and there's other things you can recycle with them. Right? Well, in the head unit, yeah, the head unit's a separate piece, but it's all like one solid system, you know, that works together. Well, I'm going to print a few things for the printer so I can get familiar with it. That's the thing. I don't know much about this printer, and I'm feeling out of my element, and I haven't printed like this in a while. So I'm going to get I want to improve the printer and make it a little bit better. And I want to print some things for around the house to get just how everything works, right? And I have some other filament on the way, some different colors. But when they get here, all the colors, I want to do a multicolor print. But yeah, I've been like playing with the menus, going inside and out of every setting, playing with the app on my phone and the app on my computer, learning how the slicer works. It's not just the printer you need to learn. It's like the whole, like all the software ecosystem too, because the slicer is a big part of, let's say you have a 3D model you design, you're going to have to import it and slice it yourself. Which one I want to test is I designed a case to hold like, I use a lot of nitrile gloves when I'm working on projects like painting, cleaning, projects in the garage, whatever. So I just have boxes of nitrile gloves on the counter, and I made a little stand to hold them. So I'm going to probably print that. So a slicer is a software tool that essentially converts a 3D model into a file that your 3D printer will understand, and it breaks up the solid 3D object into many layers or slices, cross sections, if you will, of the object. But yeah, I really just, like I said, need to understand the printer. But once I get all the colors, I'm going to start printing some multicolor prints and experimenting with that. One I really want to print is a Hendrik 3D print. Maybe not this size. I don't think I could do them quite this large, but maybe about half the size or 2/3 scale. We'll see how that goes, though. I've been seeing people print those airless basketballs. Those look pretty cool. When I do, I will most definitely show you. Honestly, I mean, yeah, about piggyback. You know what? That's smart. Maybe I could make him hollow. They have a vase mode in 3D printing where it makes it hollow inside, right? And you could set the thickness. And then all I need to do is add a coin slot on the back and a little compartment on the bottom to open it. But yeah, I imagine I'll be printing all sorts of minis and hardware and adapters and practical prints. I'm a big practical print person. Like, I love practical prints. I think the next thing I want to invest in is like a 3D scanner. Because if I could 3D scan things, like I have little objects I want to make like a holster for or something that holds it, right? Imagine making like perfectly form-fitted stuff. Oh, that'd be dope. Prototyping is fun for me too. I have this idea in my head. I want to design and 3D print like have any of you ever heard of what a hobo fishing reel? They're kind of an old timer thing, but it's essentially like it's almost like a fishing reel. You know those like kite handles that's like a handle with the big reel of string on it? It's almost like that, but then the reel, it's a fishing reel but I've seen them made out of wood and metal and plastic, and I kind of want to design one that like has a compartment inside that can hold like, you know, some gear. Is that what they're called? I've always heard of them called hobo fishing reels. Well, would you look at that? Someone's making and selling them on eBay. See, something like this is kind of what my design idea was, but not quite this. Hey, James, how you doing? Goodness, this map is something else. So I hope y'all appreciated the sneak peek earlier. I hope y'all enjoyed the interview with our friend Mandu. And I had a lot of fun hanging out with you all on stream today. Unfortunately, though, we're probably going to be wrapping up soon. So a lot of the roofing you're seeing here is objects. But if you have a round room with a different type of roofing than the rest of the roofing, it'll have slightly different look. Like if you have different rooms in a building and you change that room's roof to a different type, then it'll corten it off to its own roof and you can get different weird shapings. Hey, thank you for being here, Morgana. I appreciate you. But yeah, our friend Tropism that made this map used a combination of objects and normal roofing to really get like these unique styles. It's like a doghouse. This whole area from this ledge right here on the roof eave all the way to the top is dead space. So you could put things like this in there, have fun with it. Ideally, we probably should just get roofing attachments like these that you could put on different areas, and then you could change the tiles to whatever you want. So you can make all these gabled roofing and whatever you want styles. And no worries, no worries. Superior, thank you for that follow. Much appreciated. Honestly, I think it looks great. Doesn't even need to match. It looks quirky. Yes, James, it does. Superior, sorry. Might be kind of a newbie question. When I make a building on a non-flat map, so you would go into like the object menu, right? Find you like a staircase. So in like the case of this is not necessarily all level and it's terraced. There's homes at different heights. So you can use either like stairs, and if you disable collisions, stairs can be merged into the ground really easily. So like a stone platform like this, you could take it. And in this case, it looks like that one is a stone platform. But they had it kind of merged into the ground to equal, you know, roughly the size where they need it to be. In addition to that, you can scale them up and down. And if you have the collisions disabled, you have a lot more control over the sizing and where things can be placed. You can raise them up and down on the Z-axis, merge things closer together. Let's say I wanted 2 staircases and one goes in opposite direction here. I'll just duplicate this one. And I rotated it. Maybe it's like, oh, this one was added to be an offshoot of this. And then I'm just going to remove a little bit of this terrain at the top there. So a combination of terrain tools, objects, disabling settings. Alternatively, we do have some stones that are kind of flat, like a flagstone under nature and rocks. Is it? No, it's not these. Never mind. It's not nature and rocks. It's under structural and I believe abandoned or ruins. Yeah, there's these flagstones and these other shape stones. These make great like improvisational stairways. If you need something that kind of looks more ruined. But yeah, you got to turn off collisions primarily is the main thing. That's exactly what these streams are for you to come in and ask questions. So no worries. In fact, we stream twice a week, every Saturday and every Monday. So our next stream is on Monday. It's called Mapmaker Monday. I'm actually working on a map live that should be finishing up next stream. And then essentially we pick a map for the next theme that I work on. But those streams are hosted AMA. Well, the Mapmaker Monday is hosted AMA format, which means you can come in and ask Dungeon Alchemist questions the whole time and pick my brain, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. During today's stream, we had an interview segment earlier in the stream, which during that segment, the questions are kind of centered towards the person we're interviewing, not support. But we do have a Q&A segment and also, teasers, development news, stuff like that, map showcases, feature showcases, and we don't mind answering your questions. Lastly, if you're looking for support when we're not live on the streams, we have our official Discord. Highly recommended if if you use Discord. It's a great server, very wholesome, not too much drama. And if you do have any problems with anyone or people are spamming you or, trying to ask you for commissions in your DMs, just hit me up and let me know and we'll take care of it. But overall, we have over 35,000 people in our Discord, and there's very, very little drama. We have sections dedicated to getting support or your questions answered. There's areas where you can chat with other GMs and bounce ideas off of them for your encounters, your stat blocks, homebrew, maps, etc. And in addition to our Discord, we also have an amazing wiki. The wiki is a 24-hour resource full of information. Think of it like a manual that's kind of evolving over time because we update it and make changes to it. But yeah, no problems with the questions. That's what we're here for. In fact, Monday we'll be working on this map a little bit more till we wrap it up and then putting it on the workshop for everyone. Well, welcome to the Dam fam, as we like to say around here, Superior, because when you save a map in Dungeon Alchemist, it's saved as a .dam file. So we have the Dam Challenge is our bi-weekly map-making contest. We have the Dam fam, or the Dam Nation, as we say a lot of the times around the stream. We have different factions, if you will. We kind of joke about that quite a bit. Anyway, appreciate you dropping in and for the follow. I hope you have an amazing day. And in fact, everyone, I hope you have a rad, fantabulistic weekend. Fortunately, the stream is going to come to an end. We are, now past half the hour. It's time to wrap it up. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, whether you were, actively chatting or lurking, whether it is your first stream or, your 50th stream. And also, I got to thank our mod team for being fantastic today. Atlam, super amazing ninja mod skills. And thank you for sending me those notes. And Asmodeus, thank you for being here for backup and making sure, everyone's in line and obviously offering Faustian bargains to everyone in the background. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And I would love to have you back on Monday. Monday's stream starts at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. That is 4 p.m. UTC. It runs for roughly 2.5 hours. We'll likely be finishing up this map, and I'll hopefully get it uploaded to the workshop then, too. Otherwise, though, really appreciate y'all being here. And yeah, I do got to say a big shout out and a big thank you to our friend Mandu, who was our guest today on the stream. Mandu, is an absolute blast having you on. I don't know if you're still present, but thank you so much for coming on earlier. Speaking of guests, our next guest spot is 2 weeks from today on the 23rd, and that'll be More D&D, Moore D&D. I was actually just a guest on his stream a few weeks ago on a stream he hosts every Wednesday called the Midweek Monster Mash. And he had me pick, a bunch of monsters from various CR ranges, and he picked a bunch of monsters from various CR ranges, and we duked it out. Anyway, I completely wiped the floor with him. There was like a scorekeeping system based on the level of mob you take out. And I got 48 to his 0. He didn't take out one of my dudes. It was pretty funny. But normally he doesn't get wiped like that. So I just thought he was going to kick my butt. So I over prepared, I guess. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. But we're going to talk about that, his experiences as a DM. He uses Dungeon Alchemist. He does content creation for TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. And, it's just all around good guy. I'm excited to have him on the stream next. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. We're going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, and then we're going to wrap up the stream. All right. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. Back out. Bye.
But can it handle curves?
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 Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map-making application for role-playing games, now comes with both round and diagonal walls. Create amazing professional maps for your players in seconds. Get it now on the Steam store.